Hey, Jess, how's it going?
I'm great. I have a question for you.
Ooh.
When was the last time you were in awe of something or you felt awed by something?
Hmm. My daughter is usually very shy around people.
Ah,
But last night there were some like new friends over, new kids her age, and I was really awestruck by how well she was able to like chat with them, introduce herself. She was really
I
pushing
love it.
herself out of her comfort zone, and I was very impressed and awed by by her, lack of shyness. Good for her.
I love that so much. I have experienced similar things watching James be social and be in new situations and stuff. And yeah, cuz I'm always a bit nervous at first
Yeah.
like before putting him in new situations cuz like as a parent you're like, "Oh my gosh, is this going to go
Right.
terribly
Are they just gonna
wrong or
ignore
terribly
each
right? I
other?
don't know." But then you just watch them in the world being a person and doing fine and you're like, "I am in awe of you, child."
Yes, I know, it's so nice to see them coming out of their shell, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting how parents, I think, are constantly awed by by children, and teachers are constantly awed by their students. In lots of our classes,
Yes.
I'm constantly in awe of you guys and how awesome, how well you improve.
Guys, I would love to challenge you after you learn today's vocabulary to use one of these words in a review of the podcast. Guys, wherever you're listening right now, if you could rate and review us, that would be super amazing. It would be awesome. And I would be in awe of you if you did that. All right. So
Yes.
we are going to give you 5 adjectives today um, that all have to do with the word awe. That's AWE. So let's define that one first. This is the root word today. What does awe mean?
Yeah, it's a noun. It's a feeling of extreme respect and wonder. And we use it in so many different adjectives, but it can be a little tricky. I'm glad we're covering this vocabulary today, Jess, because I have heard students use it incorrectly. They've heard
Mhm.
all these different versions, and sometimes it's hard to remember. Maybe you're fusing two together. So now, you guys, after this episode, you'll be very clear on how to use these on IELTS speaking to boost your vocab scores.
Yeah, exactly. So, I could see this causing a lot of grammar mistakes because awe by itself is a noun, but we know it as part of adjectives and adjective phrases.
Hmm.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if a student like learns this word and they think it's an adjective, right? And they're like, I am awe or something,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
completely wrong. Yeah. So good thing you guys are listening today. So, what we're going to do is actually, while we teach you the new vocabulary, we are going to also answer IELTS questions to show you how to use it on the exam. So, let's define the first two here, and then we'll try and use them in a sample answer. So, we defined awe. Now, awestruck. This is a lovely adjective and it just means very impressed, right? So remember the root awe, feeling of respect and wonder, but extreme respect and wonder. You're just like, wow. Anything that makes you go, wow, is leaving you in awe or leaving you awestruck. So, I'm going to throw a question at you, and I
All
want you
right.
to try and use one or both of those. Okay.
Okay. All right.
What
I'm
what do
ready.
you do? This is part one, guys. What do you do with your friends on the weekend? Hmm.
I am in awe of anyone who goes out every weekend because, to be honest, often I'm, chilling at home. But I was awestruck by myself last night because I went out and I was out till 2 a.m., which
Oh
is
my
rare
gosh.
for me.
Is that true?
No, not at all.
Okay.
On
I
a
was
Sunday
about to be
night.
awestruck by that admission. Um, I love the example because showing that we could just like make something up in support of a cool vocabulary word. All right. So the next phrase is in awe of, right? This means you really admire or respect someone or something. You could be in awe of a person, in awe of an idea, in awe of a movie, right? You can admire and respect anything, really. Any of those circumstances, we can use this phrase. So, We have taught you awe, awestruck, and in awe of. Now, I am going to challenge myself to use all three of those
Nice.
in whatever question you surprise me with right now.
Awesome. And I think I actually used "in awe of" the beginning. I was like, "I
I
am
think
in awe
so.
of anyone who does this." That one is so native and natural, just like
So
came
good.
out of me spontaneously. Okay, Jessica, your question is, describe an older person you admire.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to describe my mother. Don't tell her that I think she's an older person, but I am constantly awestruck with her amount of energy, her tenacity in regards to life. She wakes up at 4 a.m. every morning to exercise before she goes to work. And I am also in awe of her career. She has reached a level in her department where she is the director of everyone. She has like hundreds of employees. I would love for her to write a memoir and for everyone to experience the awe of knowing her life story.
Oh, so amazing. I thought I was gonna have to cut you off because I feel like you could definitely do a part 2 about your adorable mom.
Well, that was a part two. So anytime a question starts with describe a blah, blah,
Oh, yeah,
blah,
that's
right? It's
true.
going to be speaking part two.
It was just a
Um,
snippet of it since it wasn't 2 minutes. Nice.
exactly. Just a little preview. Okay, let's get to the next phrase. We have three more for you guys. Awe inspiring. Lovely adjective. I think easier to remember than the phrase in awe of. I feel
Mm.
like with those two prepositions and confusing grammar, that could be difficult. So instead, say something or someone is awe inspiring if they make you go, wow, you're amazing. Um, all right. Aubrey, I'm going to ask you a question now.
Alright, okay.
Okay. Did you have a favorite book when you were a child?
Yes, I was obsessed with the book Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I found it so awe-inspiring because it was very futuristic about really cool technology, but also about kids my age. I read it when I was pretty young. And so that was kind of mind-blowing to me to think that I could be in this futuristic society, put myself in there. So it was an
Awesome.
amazing book. I probably read it 10 times.
I love it so much. So just to focus on the fact that these words are so flexible, you guys. Anytime you're asked about something you like, something you don't like, describe a person, describe yourself, relationships, education. I mean, oh my goodness, these travel, describing places, these words. They just mean something is so amazing and it fills you with wonder and joy. We can use these phrases. So
And they're so great for replacing the very boring words you do not wanna use of, like, good and great, because we use them to exaggerate too, right? I might be like, "I'm awestruck by my friends," and then I'm talking about, they're really not maybe that impressive, but we exaggerate. So you don't wanna say, like, "I think my friends are great and fun." Replace those with these much higher level words.
and it also leads to more description, more details. Because if you
Yes.
say someone is nice and great, it's like, oh yay, that's it. But
Where
if
do
you
you
say
go?
someone is awe-inspiring, I feel like you have to prove that. Like you have to say why they're
Yes.
awe, like
Give me
why
some
do they
details.
deserve that adjective?
Yes. Even if it's just that they're fun and stay out till 2 AM, that counts. That's
Counts.
awe-inspiring.
It is at this stage. I wanna be in bed at, like, 9 p.m.
Right.
All right, so 2 last ones just to remind you to, finish up this conversation about awe. Of course, the most common word we use this in is awesome. And this used to be quite an Americanism. And I
Mm.
think other English speakers might make fun of us for saying awesome all the time. But you know what? Now everybody who speaks English uses this adjective. And again, it just means really cool, really great, right?
Yeah, initially, it maybe meant really fills you with awe. We've replaced it now. It just
Yeah.
means really cool, right? And you should definitely throw in some slang to just above and beyond. If ever you say awesome, say super awesome, totally, or way awesome, right? Just to get that variety of vocabulary. They're so easy to collocate together.
Yeah. Or how about this phrase? I can't even begin to tell you how awesome this was. If you
Yes.
could use that whole sentence structure, like that would be awesome on the
And such
test.
good intonation, right? Give those words the pause to emphasize them. All right, we're gonna do our last
Mhm.
one, and then I'm gonna ask you a question, Jessica, and you have to use both of these last ones, all right?
Oh, okay, okay.
So the last one is awful, which this you can see how potentially students could be tripped up because this has a total opposite meaning. It
Yeah,
means terrible.
exactly. Because awe is also sometimes used to describe someone like the fearful side of wonder. Like
Right.
something is so huge and powerful that you're almost afraid of it in the wonder.
Mm,
So I think that's the side of the word where awful comes from. But
yes.
do be aware that awful is the opposite of all of these things we're talking about.
Right? We would be in awe of dinosaurs if they were
Right.
here, but also, like, terrified if
Yeah,
they were
totally.
actually close enough to eat us.
But yeah, so awful just means terrible though. Like it's not
Yes.
connected to that awe anymore. Okay, challenge me with a question and I'll see how many words I could use from today.
All right. Describe a time you went to a museum.
Oh my gosh, the first museum that always comes to mind if I'm asked about museums is the Reina Sofia in Madrid because that is the first time I experienced the Guernica, this enormous, awe-inspiring painting by Picasso. It is about a war battle, a famous battle in Guernica, I wanna say. I hope I'm right.
Makes sense.
Anyway, it is an awful, awful battle. There are limbs being tossed aside. There are like beheadings and stuff. But I can tell you, I was awed by the sheer size, first of all, before I even noticed all the little details. And as I walked closer to the painting, I was awestruck by the depictions of the violence that Picasso could include in this huge mural. I think anybody who witnesses this awesome piece of art will be in awe of his talent.
Oh, nice. I feel like you could definitely fill 2 minutes talking about that painting, right? It's so funny, it reminds me when I went to Barcelona, I went to a Picasso museum, and I kinda paid a lot to get in because I thought the Guernica was gonna be in there.
Nope,
And
it's
then
at
it
Reina
wasn't,
Sofia.
and I never made it to Madrid. I was so sad.
That's
Gotta go back.
hilarious.
Gotta go back to
You gotta
Spain.
go back. That's it.
One day.
All right, guys. Again, we would absolutely love it if you could leave us a rating and review wherever you're listening right now. It really helps more people find our podcast. And just to summarize, Aubrey, what are the words that we taught today?
Yeah, so the noun awe, you can say I was awed by something. And then adjectives, awestruck, the phrase in awe of, awe inspiring, right? Anything that makes you feel awe. And then awesome and awful. So useful for all over speaking.
I would love for you guys to listen a few times and try to mimic how we used the vocab. It'll help you remember it as well, and then you can use it on your own exam. All right, awesome. Aubrey, you are awe inspiring.
Oh, I'm always awestruck by you, Jess.
All right, guys, we'll be back next week. Have a good day, Aubrey.
Awesome. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.